Hello everyone, and welcome back to Limbus Company. Today we're going to be checking out the brand new Cinq Association IDs for Outis and Cinqclair. So, let's get started by checking them out, starting with Outis, because I like to start with the 2 stars, I guess. For skill 1, sorry if I butcher these names, by the way, I'm not quite sure exactly how to pronounce them, but skill 1, Marsh. It's a 2 coin skill, Pride Affinity, rolling 3 to 11. Pretty average, nothing you can really complain about. On use, you get 2 haste, which is good. The Cinq IDs usually like haste, so any way to gain it is always nice. You also gain 3 aggro next turn, and on hit gain 2 poise count. Nothing too crazy, pretty average skill 1 I'd say. Skill 2, Munition, the 2 coin again, Gloom skill, rolling 4 to 14. And if this unit's speed is higher than the target's, coin power plus 2. That would give it an extra 4 power, bringing it up to 18 max, which is pretty good for skill 2. Normally the average for skill 2 is around 16, so having it be an 18 is really good actually. You also gain 2 poise count and 4 aggro when you use it, and you gain an extra 2 poise potency as well as inflicting bind when you actually land the attack. Bind is really useful, so any nice easy application of that is always good, and it being on skill 2 means it's pretty reliable bind. That's very good. Pretty decent skill 2, actually. It's a really good skill 2. Definitely one of the better ones, especially for a 2-star, I'd say. Skill 3, Balestra Fente. Balestra Fent? I don't have a clue. 8 to 22 single coin. Not the best for damage, but very high clashing potential. Especially if you're at 7 plus poise, you get an extra 4 final power, bringing it up to 26, which is very good. This part right here is also not accurate. It's supposed to be clash win, gain poise based on clash count, max of 10. So you're not dealing more damage based on the clash count, you just gain poise. So basically, depending on how many coins the enemy has, you'll be gaining more poise and be more likely to crit. On hit, inflict Declared Duel, which is the unique status effect for all the Cinq Associations. Gain +1 clash power against them and gain 1 haste up to 4 times. And only one of them can have a Declared Duel on the same target at a time, meaning that if you're running all of the Cinq Association together, all 3 of them, then they're not very good against single targets because only one of them can have a Declared Duel at a time, and they'll be constantly overriding each other. If the enemy though has like multiple body parts though, then it's manageable because at least one of them can have constant uptime, whereas the other 2 would be still fighting. But it's fine. You also apply 2 haste next turn to 2 allies with the slowest speed. That's a pretty good effect if you're running the other 2 Cinqs as well, but also with how the Cinq Association are generally fast units, if you're running anyone else alongside them, then the Cinq themselves are probably unlikely to actually gain the effects. Unless you're exclusively running them, of course. And then on crit, you gain 70% bonus damage, because if you don't have a status like that on your skill, poise is pretty useless, because it's only like, what, a 30% damage increase? So pretty much any identity with poise needs a tag like this, where you deal extra damage. Otherwise the payoff is terrible. Defense skill, one of the best defense skills in the game, honestly. Only 5 to 15. That's just shy of the highest evade skill, which is Ting Tang Hong Lu at 2 to 16. But it also has, if this unit's speed is higher than the target's, it gains extra coin power for every speed difference. So as long as you're 1 point faster than the target you're evading, it will be equal to Hong Lu's. And if you're even faster than that, then it becomes probably the best evade in the entire game, rolling a max of 18, which is pretty insane if you think about it. And then you gain poise on it every time you evade, which is good. One thing to note is, then we have our passive, Redirect. On evade, gain 1 haste next turn, lower this unit's stagger threshold by 5. So this is interesting because it's, the more often you evade, the stronger your evade will become. Because by gaining this haste, you will constantly be getting faster and faster, and then you're more likely to be faster than your target, which would then buff your evade. And it compounds on itself further and further. One thing to note, though, however, is it's pretty much impossible for her to actually maintain poise, because the only source of poise count that she actually has is on her skill 2 and skill 1, and it only gains 2 poise count. And for any identity, they need more than just 2 poise count if they actually want to be able to maintain it. Because how it works is, you use the skill, you gain 2 poise count, the turn ends, you lose 1 of the poise count, leaving you with just 1 poise count at the end, at the next turn. Meaning then you have to use the skill again a second time, giving you 2 more poise count, maxing out at 3, the turn ends again, you lose 1 of them, leaving you with 2 poise count, then you can use one of your skills, like the evade, for example, to gain a bunch of poise potency to actually make it so that you can actually crit, or the skill 3 where you clash win, and then you would gain a whole bunch of poise potency, which is what this should say. And after that, you can then actually use your big payoff skill, which for her is her skill 3, and then hopefully you crit. And if you don't crit, then you lose all of your poise because you don't have enough poise count to actually maintain it. And that's honestly one of my biggest problems with poise identities. If they don't have poise count generation higher than 2, then they simply cannot maintain their own poise count, and it will eventually dissipate unless you give them extra skill slots. So it's just inconsistent. You can still use it though and get value out of it. It's just the second you actually use the skill to get the payoff for the crit, then you lose all of your poise count and have to start all over again. So you can't just spam the skill 3 over and over again and constantly keep critting. Which I guess is sort of way to balance it, but it's kind of unnecessary with how weak critting actually is. Like if she didn't have this on crit plus 70% damage effect, it would just be a simple 30% damage increase, which is kind of pathetic. So it's sad to see that it's so difficult to maintain poise count, yet the payoff is so bad. Other than that though, she's got very good numbers with the actual coin rolling, so very good clash potential, as well as the best evade in the game. So that's good. Very tanky identity too. Pretty fast. All around, pretty good 2-star. Moving on to Cinqclair himself, we have, for his skill 1, Remise. 2-coin gluttony skill, rolling 3 to 11. Same as Outis, pretty average. This unit's speed is faster than the target's by 2 or more, gain +1 coin power. So that would bring it up to a 13 coin power. On use, gain +2 poise count and 2 haste on hit. Very good skill 1. Very good skill 1, especially if you get the coin power. Nothing you can really complain about. And if you don't get the coin power, it's like you're going to gain the haste, and with the haste, then you're much more likely to actually be able to get the coin power. So, skill 2, engagement. It's a 3 coin skill, rolling 4 to 16, so very good. If this unit's speed is higher than the target's, coin power +1 for every 2 speed difference. So if you're 4 points of speed faster than the target, you will gain an extra 6 coin power, bringing it up to a 22 rolling skill, which is pretty crazy for a skill 2. Of course, you do need a very substantial amount of speed to actually get that high, but I don't believe it would be that difficult for him to pull off. Flash Wind, he gains 2 poise count, and on hit, 2 more poise counts. So that's already good. As I was saying with Outis, like, you need more than just 2 poise count to actually be able to maintain your poise. So with this, he gets a single skill that gives him 4 poise count, which is more than enough to actually be able to maintain it. Skill 3, Contra Atake? I don't have a clue how to pronounce that, but okay. 3 coin lust skill, rolling 5 to 17. Okay for a skill 3. Just base value, it's okay. Not particularly great, but okay. It does have the same effect. If this unit's speed is higher than the target, gains extra coin power, up to a max of 3. So that would boost it to 25, I think, which is still really good. Flash Wind consumed 10 poise count. Gain poise equal to poise count consumed. Against targets with declared dual Cinqclair, gain poise equal to poise count consumed times 2 instead. So depending on how much poise count you have when you clash with them, it will probably end up consuming all of it to give you a bunch of poise potency to make it likely that you will actually be able to crit. I don't know how good that would be, though, because let's say you do clash with a declared dual target and you do have 10 poise count. That means you consume all of it and gain 20 poise potency, which would guarantee a crit, meaning your first coin would crit, and then you would have no more poise, as you no longer have any poise count. If it was lower than 10, I think it would be better, but just because it's 10 poise count, that's a really high amount of poise count. It's just gonna eat through it, and you're gonna end up with no poise just by simply winning a single clash with this. I think if this was a lower number, like 5 or something, then it would be a lot more manageable, because you could actually maintain your poise count then, but just because of how high it is, you're probably not going to really want to clash with this skill just to actually, keep your poise count. Flash Wind, if this unit conducted a single combat with the target slot's attack skill, inflict 1 fragile on hit twice per turn. Single combat is established when the attack slot is targeted by a single unit and only by that single unit. This condition is established only between the attacking unit and the attack slot. I don't quite know how that works. I'll have to actually play with it to understand how it works, but essentially you'd be getting 2 fragile. Yeah, you'd be getting 2 fragile in exchange for all of your poise count. I guess technically speaking, the poise count itself doesn't really matter. The only bonus you get is plus 50% damage on the 3rd coin. So, yeah, it doesn't look like he has any real payoff for the poise. It just sort of seems tacked on, so you can pretty much ignore it entirely and be fine. Yeah, with the only benefit being this 50% damage increase on the 3rd coin of skill 3, it's kind of an afterthought more than anything else. It's nice to have, I guess, but it doesn't really matter. Defense skill, normal defense skill, 4 to 14. That's literally as average as you can get. passive, Slumbering Bloodthirst. Turn end, gain +2 max speed next turn for every 5 poise count, max of 6. Combat start, if speed of all allies is higher than speed of all enemies, gain 1 pierce damage up. So the pierce damage up, if you're running a sync team, you're pretty much guaranteed to have that at all times. And I guess there is an actual payoff for having poise, and it's the extra max speed for every 5 poise count you have, which again means the skill 3's clashing is pretty terrible, because it's basically, do you want the extra 2 fragile, or do you want the max speed from having poise count? I don't know. I think probably the max speed is probably better, maybe. I'm not quite sure the ratio, but I would assume that having 3 extra coin power is probably better than 2 fragile. Maybe not, but it depends. It depends, I guess. If you have, like, if you're running him in a big team with a lot of coins, then I guess the fragile is better, but you would be losing all the coin power by clashing with it. So, I don't know. He's kind of weird with his poise. I just wish this number was lower. Just having it just eat all of it with a single clash is just, it doesn't feel right. Support passive, though, too slow. Fastest ally on evade, gain 1 haste next turn, max of 5. It is a resonance, though, so pretty situational, but could be useful. I did forget to talk about Outis's passive, support passive, so let's talk about that. Mentor's Counsel. 3 Pride Resonance. If the fastest ally's speed is higher than speed of all enemies, the fastest ally gains clash power +1. If the said ally is the Cinq Association fixer, the fastest ally deals +10% pierce damage. That's pretty good. Extra clash power and damage if you're faster. It is on Pride Resonance though, so again, situational. But still decent. Pretty decent. All in all, I'd probably say they're pretty good. Nclair they do seem a little bit awkward though with their poise synergy. It kind of honestly feels slapped on and not really given much thought, to be honest. But other than that, the fragile's really good. The pierce damage of being faster and the really high coin rolling is very, very good. So he's definitely worth polling. Same with Outis to some extent, although probably less so. She does have the best evade in the game though, so there's that going for her. Anyways, I'm gonna pull for these guys, get them all maxed out, and then probably do a Mirror Dungeon hard run with them because it just came out and I want to. So see you then.
자, 결투를 받아들여라. 혹은 추하게 도망치거나.
죄송해요. 너무 과했나?
Here we go. So, I've pulled for them, maxed them out too. Pretty much good to go. They will be on my company, so here's my friend code if you want to add me and use them, see if you want to actually pull them yourself before. I'll basically keep them on until new identities for those characters come out. So we're going to be running through the hard mode of the Mirror Dungeon, but before we actually get started, I just wanted to say Project Moon has really basically just said, get grinding, dumbass. There's so many nodes, so many of them, and each one is like super expensive. All of these ones are all 500. That's crazy. It's gonna take a while to max this thing out. Absolutely absurd. But anyways, let's get right on into this. Hard mode mirror dungeon. We could take poise, but let's take random instead. Fluorescent lamp and today's expression. Okay. Well, this is the team I'm gonna be running right here. It's basically all set up to essentially give it all. Like, you know, it's meant to synergize the most with the Cinq IDs. So most of the units that we're going to actually be playing with are going to be N-Corp, Rabbit Heathcliff, Rhino Mersault, and Hook Lou, because they all synergize very well with speed. Give them lots of speed, and they all really like it. So I think they just synergize well with all of the you know, the new Cinq IDs. One good thing about single coin skills is that they're very easy to clash with evades. So that's nice. Very cool animation. But yeah, I'm not sure how much of this I'm going to actually show. I'll probably just skip to the... That was a lot of fragile, but I'll probably just skip to the actual boss fights most of the time. Nclair is looking really good though. See what we get. Oh hell yeah, nebulizer. This guy. So far they all seem pretty good. I really want to solo with Cinqclair. He seems like he'd be really, really good. But I'm not quite sure. I mean, I am going to. That's gonna be the next thing. Once I... Pretty much just after this video's done. He's already insanely good, and it's just... Like, look at that. Just one poise gift, the nebulizer, and he's already just straight up decimating everything. Honestly, I'm kind of a little bit surprised how well we're doing right now. I mean, I know it's the first floor, but this is still hard mode. Go with that. Voodoo doll. Yeah, I'll probably, just to not make this video too long, I'll just show the bosses, I think, and that's it. What the heck is this? This is new. Did they change the symbol for Abno fights? Ah, it looks like they did. How strange. Oh well, it shouldn't be that difficult. Oh yeah, I'll see you at the floor 2 boss. Alright, here we are, floor 2 boss. Let's go. This should be pretty easy if I do say so myself. Yeah, these snake guys aren't that big of a deal. I'm not sure. He's Cinqclair is probably not as good as, you know, Nclair. He's still pretty good though. These guys are super easy. They're just annoying because of the poison. Honestly, something that that's interesting is how there is no identities that actually do anything with poison. I mean, it's basically identical to burn with how it functions, but even still, they could do something with it, but they have it exclusive to these dudes. There's nothing wrong with that, though, of course. But it'd be nice to see some sort of identity or ego or something that utilizes it. Because it's sort of a forgotten status effect. Very easy. And for our reward, we get the Stone Tomb. Yay! And with that, I'll see you at the 3rd floor boss. Alright, and we're back. Boss 3, the Blubbering Toad. Honestly, this guy's kind of easier to probably just straight up solo than, you know, going in with a team. But that's boring. Well, maybe not boring, but I think it's not as fun. You know, something I didn't mention about Cinqclair is he actually perfectly fuels the lantern, which is very nice. If an identity can actually be able to solo, then one thing that definitely makes them stand up above the rest is if they can fuel their own egos, which Cinqclair can fuel at least one of them, so that's something. Of course, we're not getting very good luck with our actual rolling of skills. Basically getting exclusively skill 1s. What is this? Getting good value out of the evades, though, that's for sure. Blubbering Toad is doing his normal thing and making it difficult to actually win clashes, you know, as he does. Making me wish I had Fluid Sac on Faust, but I don't. I think that's a corrosion. Yep, there it is. Corrosion on Dawn. Hey, got lucky though. Fully targeting the Toad. It's actually really nice that we got that lucky with that. Perfect value out of this corrosion, having absolutely no negative drawbacks whatsoever. Never punished. Never punished. And we just win this roll. Dagger the Toad, damage, and bada bing, bada boom. We win. Very, very easy. What do we get? This one, I guess. Enemy final power +2. defense level, -4, max HP plus 15%. Wild. And we get an extra ego gift. Yay! How fascinating. I'll see you guys at the 4th floor boss. Alright, here we go. Floor 4 boss. Kromer. Let's see, let's see. You know, this is one of the bosses that isn't actually very good for the full team. The full team of the Cinq Association, because, like, none of them can actually stack their thing. They'll just get overwritten by the others. And there's nothing you can really do about it. But it's fine. You know, I have noticed, specifically with Cinqclair, that you only really need one poise gift, that being the nebulizer. And it just skyrockets his potential, giving him just an insane amount of poise that he wouldn't have otherwise. And that makes him super fast. And he can get his actual, like, crits off and things, so... Yeah, he's just like any other poise identity, where he just gets insane value from poise. Like, look at it, he's 12. He's rolling at 12. That's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how high he can roll. Kromer, of course, is still pretty tough. Nothing you can really do about that. Also, I accidentally staggered Cinqclair. I kind of forgot about that whole mechanic, but, you know, kind of fitting. I'm getting unlucky with my Heathcliff rolls. Not really getting very high speed on him. What the heck? Where did that 300 damage come from? I don't have a clue how I just deleted her health right there. That was weird. Is there some Kromer gimmick that I don't know about? It's the only explanation I can think of. And now everyone's low sanity. Oh no. This is gonna be bad. Nclair's fast, he can clash with that. And by him, I mean Outis. Even though she's low on sanity, she can do it. Yeah, there she goes. Perfect. And then because we got the rusted commemorative coin, she goes again. Nice. And there goes the right arm. Exactly as planned. They are definitely very powerful. The Cinq IDs. Probably. You see, this is one of the reasons I like hard mode. Wait, okay. That was not part of the plan. What was I saying? Yeah, this is one of the reasons why this is one of the reasons I actually like hard mode. It makes you actually kind of have to think. And it's like, even though what I'm doing is technically the right thing, it's not working because RNG, of course. But it's perfectly fine. We got this. We got this. Very easy. Yep. And that's Kromer. Level 4. Done and dealt with. Moving on to stage 5. It's kind of weird. Yeah, it's kind of weird having Kromer not be the final boss. I'm not gonna lie, it's kind of weird. But it's perfectly fine. So I'll see you at the final boss. Whatever it might be. Alright. We made it to the final floor. Going up against Skin Prophet. That's cool. These are the final ego gifts we have. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. Lots of poise stuff. Lots of goodies. I will say that this final floor has been a significant difficulty spike, simply because the enemies are just really difficult to clash with. Insanely difficult to clash with. Now, right, I remember how to do this fight, I think. Oh, wait, why do I have Faust? Nah, whatever, it doesn't matter. Honestly, I think Skin Prophet is pretty easy. Just by nature of him being a gimmick fight. If I didn't have Faust and had Heathcliff instead, I would have been able to get that last candle on turn 1, but oh well. Like I said, easy gimmick fight. Yeah, this is another fight where honestly having all of the sync IDs isn't really that good. Just because, you know, just because they can't, okay. Just because they can't inflict their debuff multiple times. These dungeons definitely do get a lot more difficult, though, if you don't have status effects. Maybe it's actually a good thing we got Faust in here most of the time. If they actually hit their coin skills, that is. I might lose this. Yeah, that's a restart. Take 2. Take 2. I can't do them all in one turn. Okay. Gimmick dealt with for now. We're dying though, every single one of us, which is going to make this a little bit more difficult. AoE is also pretty dangerous. Not very good. They just love missing like a single coin roll every time. They just love missing a single coin roll. It's absolutely ridiculous. 95% sanity, by the way. 95%. I really hate sanity and how it just functions. It's losing a guaranteed clash to a 5% chance is just so dumb. Sorry if I'm not talking very much for this. It's kind of a little bit difficult and requires more focus than normal, I'd say. Not too much more, but definitely a little bit more. I'm definitely a big fan of the hard version of the Mirror Dungeon, though. So far, it's been really good. I'm pretty sure we can just stagger him right now, right? Yeah, we can. We can ignore his gimmick this turn. Because he'll just get staggered. Just like that. And then that basically guarantees his success. We win now. Easy fight. Not really, I had to restart once. Took 2 tries. But there we have it. Successful first run of the Mirror Dungeon 3 Hard Mode. With the Cinq Association. And of course, Cinqclair is... Oh my god, what... what is that? Holy shit. 13,000? 13... Everybody else did like 6,000. He's sitting up here at 13,000. That is... Jesus Christ. That's an absurd amount. He literally did like... Oh my god, 30% is right. Holy... Well, if that doesn't go to show how good he is, then I don't know what will. So yeah. That's basically it. Like and subscribe. And... in the next video, I'll be doing a Mirror Dungeon 3 Hard Mode solo with Cinq Association Sinclair. Goodbye.